Welcome everyone to this very final episode of Isla Napali. Yes, I said it. It is the final episode of Season 2, but also the final episode of Isla Napali in total. It is the final speed build. There will be a few more episodes in terms of final showcase and stuff, but this is the final speed build. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this last episode of Moving Pictures from the island. Alrighty, here we go, guys. It is a time for this very last episode. First of all, about my microphone quality, I hope it is okay. I hope it's good. I got my new microphone, which is the Blue Yeti. Let me just quickly explain why. So my old microphone, which was an Anno 900B, it was always fine. It was doing a job, but it kind of broke down, and it's not entirely broken. The problem is that it's very unreliable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, you guys remember my robo voice and all these kind of things started to happen more and more frequently. It was for a time very easy to handle because I just needed to check in advance, and then when it's working, it was working. But it also recently started to do these problems within the recording, so without actually hitting the microphone or whatnot. Not saying that I didn't, but you know, it still happened. And so I needed to find a replacement because it was honestly, I do it as a hobby and stuff next to the work, and you know, I don't have the time to always sit here half an hour to get my microphone to work. It's not really what I want, and this is why I got a new one. And after a lot of suggestions, I went for the, let's say, easy choice, because I went through so many different reviews and stuff, and there were some really good, for example, the Rode and other cool microphones. But the problem was they also need a certain amount of knowledge about sound, which I don't have, and so I went for the easy version, which was the Blue Yeti. It kind of was still winner in all of the reviews at a certain value for money, because I surely could have bought a Sennheiser or whatever for like $800-900, and I surely wouldn't have any issue, but I don't have the money, so no, it had to be something more value and a bit more easy on my money. So I went for the Blue Yeti. I'm playing around with it still. I'm quite happy with I'm very happy with the sound quality in total, but it seems that different programs have different kind of takeouts of the sound. So now recording here in Premiere does work a little bit different than what I do with my recording software. So it's a bit weird, and I really hope that this works out. It's actually the first episode I'm doing with this microphone right now, so I'm really hoping that the sound quality is turning out to be somewhat acceptable, and actually better than what we had before. Well, the thing is, it's not that crazily better than what the Anno can do. I mean, it's somewhat the same price range. The Yeti is a little bit more expensive, but not that crazy. So, you don't expect that huge of an advantage over the other one. But this one should be reliable. I can basically do all the settings I need to right in front of me. It is a lot more stylish, to be honest, as well. But that wasn't the reason at all. Anyways, so let's talk about Isla Napali. After a few minutes of weird talking about microphone, let's talk about this project. Let's round it off. Let's give a bit of dedication towards this wonderful project. So in today's episode, what we're doing is basically filling in the last gaps. I will do a whole bunch of work on this park in the off-screen kind of area where you guys don't get the episodes. The reason for it is mainly Planet Zoo, but also the current situation of Planet Coaster in total. I still love the game, and I thought it was only me who was kind of questioning what is going on. I talked about this in the last episodes. I was still not feeling it. I was really hard to get back into Planet Coaster, but I still love it. And I felt like I was maybe a bit of a strange person here because I already played Planet Zoo that much, but because I wanted to know, I did this little survey on my channel. Potentially you have taken part, because a lot of people have taken part, so thanks for that. But I figured that in total over 70% didn't want to see this anymore. Over 70% in addition are kind of fed up with Planet Coaster in total. And plus the people commenting on the poll were also stating that Planet Coaster, and especially Isla Napali, became a bit boring. Even the first people from the first minutes who really enjoyed the project the most. And the explanation I got from you guys why this was the case is totally fine. I mean, people were talking about the fact that at the beginning, I had a good progress in many of the new rides, but at a certain point, we hit the maximum amount of rides. So there was nothing new that came to this one. And what I was doing is basically filling in the gaps all over again. In every single episode, we were only doing buildings. There was nothing happening. And now having Planet Zoo, it's in comparison as if you would build a zoo without animals, right? So I think it's fairly the same kind of category, if you will. So building a zoo without animals is not exciting for the people to watch. Maybe it's exciting for you because you are that kind of strategy planning person who wants to plan out the full zoo and then plop in the animals in the end. And somewhat kind of happened here to Isla Napali as well. I ended up doing all the detailing, making every single area perfect, but that meant there had to be so many episodes for only detailing and not actually building kind of new stuff. And I was always pretty impressed by how well the workflow in the guest flow episodes was, and how well you guys kind of appreciated these episodes. And in the end, thinking about this, it's not that surprising, to be honest, because these episodes at least provided somewhat of a gameplay and somewhat of a bit of action. So in terms of viewer perspective, I do get this, and this is something I do want to change for the future as well, because I feel like I love detailing, and it is very important, and I think for a certain amount of people it's super interesting, but I feel like I have to get a bit more of variation in, so that there is not like 10 episodes on detailing a beach resort, which actually happened. I think we spent in total 10 episodes at the hotel, which is good for the hotel, but bad for the overall performance of the series and for you guys to see this. So what happens in this episode is the exact opposite. We are basically doing everything in one episode. We are just filling in all the gaps and little pieces. You have seen at the beginning, we made this little backstage connecting area, which I've been talking about for ages, that is sitting next to the Blue Whale kiddie coaster. Now finally there is the connection made. And also this barebone area here next to this flat ride, which was the last addition to the park, is also finally tackled. And as always, I'm using this little trick here to sync one of the small attractions into this locker so that people actually go there and it seems as if they would use the locker. The thing is, I really imagined at the beginning that we would be playing this game a lot more once this is done. And I thought it would be nice to have really everything kind of working. But the problem is, we will do some cinematics, we will maybe make a, walkthrough or whatever. Maybe I get someone else to do the walkthrough. I always enjoy watching someone else's walkthrough more than I have myself, because I basically know every little bit and piece in this park already. Like I created it, so, it's somewhat. So I'm still thinking about maybe getting someone else to do the walkthrough, because I feel like this could be something more exciting for those people who haven't seen it, and also for those people who haven't seen every episode. So yeah, that's why. And here we go. Yeah, as you can see, I was just building this kind of locker room and used this area to kind of create also backstage access, as you can see here, plopping in some of the stones to provide access to the door, which then is hidden away a little bit by foliage later on. And that's basically it. And now I take a nip of my coffee. I decided for this last episode to go very easy on the commentary. I don't have really a plan, we will talk about many other things in the future. I will give you a kind of goodbye video to Isla Napali, where I will talk in particular about the story and stuff. But this is, and giving you this info already, this will be happening in quite some time. I think we will first of all let Planet Zoo develop for a few weeks, and then just before Christmas I will put this out. I talked about this already. It's kind of hard to get this all to work because of all the scenery pieces and all the UGC pieces. I really do have to look into this, that it is all pretty perfect and you guys can download it and can play the game and not missing out on a million pieces. That would be pretty bad. So now let me just get a little bit of coffee. God, it's already cold. Oh, we already 10 minutes into this episode. Maybe that's why. Our coffee machine is very weird. It's kind of okay. It's tasty, but it's like when you get it out of the machine, it basically is Mordor. It destroys everything. It's so freaking hot that if you get into the coffee with your tongue, you won't be able to taste anything for the next 2 months, right? But if you wait for like 5 minutes, it's already like cold brew coffee. I don't know why exactly this is. I mean, I really don't get it, to be honest. It's also not our marks. They're also fine, but I don't know. It's so weird. And it doesn't really taste that nice now. Well, no. Okay, but now, sorry, that's just me. Okay, what did you expect? So we are now walking on one of the last buildings that made their way into Isla Napali. This is the information kiosk, which also stood here bare bone for a few months. I just put it down and I was actually thinking, yeah, I make it next week, and never did it. So this building was left alone. And I figured that this is something we needed to do quite badly, because the information kiosk is sitting there in a very important space, because this is the old entrance area of Isla Napali, and there's not that much going on here anyways. There is this fake hammer kind of flat ride thing on the left hand side from the workshop. There is also the go-kart track. There are a few lockers, a few shops, and this information kiosk, and that's it. So there's nothing going on in that area. So people will actually just travel through this area real quickly and go into the actual theme park. But this thing has still a function, because if you go into a theme park, you most likely get some of the park maps and stuff somewhere, and this is what's happening here with the information kiosk. It's very much at the beginning of this area, and you can get some maps and then just go into the rest of the park. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just doing very, very simple detailing here and there, just to put in some more trees, make this look finished off. Putting some lovely little rocks in here, some bins and benches as always to finish off an area, to make it look somewhat finished. And yeah, that's basically it. The last bit was putting down some trees here and there to make it look a lot more overgrown. And yeah, now we tackled what I was trying to avoid for the past decade, I guess. This is the ship. I can't even remember when I built the first iteration of that ship. I still have to say that I'm pretty happy with the front. It looks pretty seamless. It looks pretty smooth. I feel like the time when I built it, I was not convinced about it, because I've seen so many gorgeous in-game UGC pieces that were obviously a lot better than what you could create with the game. But I feel like UGC kind of vanished again, in a way that the builds that Planet Coaster provides themselves by just the game itself and the pieces in game, it kind of survived the UGC, if you will, and it kind of got a renaissance in a way, because people were still using the in-game pieces more than they were the UGC, and there was an initial hype of the Theme Maker Toolkit items, but then it kind of declined again, because it's too finicky to bring them all in and just, find people to create it or create it yourself, and then to make it look like really Planet Coaster-ish. So I think the assets I made at the beginning really do a good job in capturing the vibe of Planet Coaster, but most of the items you find in the workshop do struggle to match up with the art style of the game, which is a bit of a pity, but it was pretty much expectable. I'm not at all surprised by the fact it's very hard to always capture a game style if you open it up for the people in the world. And if you look, for example, at games like City Skylines, it always changed the visual appearance of the game. So City Skylines, for example, doesn't have that much of a crazy art style that is really recognizable for the game. I mean, it was like City, but the only thing you have in City Skylines is that you have to match up textures and brightness levels and saturation. These are the kind of issues that some of the buildings have, but in terms of art style, it's all like realism fine, and that's it, I guess. Whereas in Planet Coaster, you have a certain art style. Also, in terms of the proportions and sizes, we all know about that. The planet size is just a little bit bigger than the real life size. That's what she said. And I feel like, yeah, this is something which created the reason, if you will, or it kind of made the foundation for why the UGC pieces never really worked the way that you could expect them to work. But yeah, so in the end, I feel like, to finish off my point, I was a bit in a mood of always using only the perfect pieces from the UGC and stop building myself. And visually, you are starting to look at things that you have created in the past, and they look very ugly to you, because you're now used to the very perfect 3D modeled items you get from the workshop. And I needed to get a bit of distance to this to be able to build this ship again. So I'm not saying that this ship at the end of the day is perfect, not at all. I mean, God, no, this is one of my worst creations in terms of bigger ship-like creations. Even my Noah's Ark in Planet Zoo is better than what I do here. But the fact is, it is enough at the end of the day to fulfill the purpose what it is for. And again, this might be one of the things I will change in the future. There are just some things, there is a certain level you have to reach to make it really look decent, right? And you don't need to go beyond that because it doesn't fulfill any more purpose. And that's what I did wrong with Planet Coaster most of the times, but especially with Isla Napali. Yes, I went for realism, but there is a difference between realism and unnecessary realism. And sometimes I went for a bit of unnecessary realism because you will never actually see that. I mean, yes, we as nerds and all the people watching this series, we know about these little bits and pieces, and that make it, these little details make it special. I do appreciate that and do know it. But for the sake of making content for YouTube and going further into some projects, it is very important to maintain a certain progress. And this again is, I'm repeating myself from the point I made a few minutes earlier, but this again was the idea of this ship then, the first attempt to make something look decent enough to be a proper ship in here that is believable in a way, but it's not too crazy. Like in total, I was streaming this on Twitch, and in total it took us like 2 hours, I guess, to build, which would be in Rudi time when I built on my own, maybe like an hour, I guess. So that's totally fine. I totally enjoy doing the stuff on stream and being a bit slower when the result is kind of expectable and acceptable. And it is. I mean, you will see in the end that this ship looks kind of decent. I mean, it's just a very ugly cargo ship. What do you expect? I mean, it's not that beautiful Dreamliner AIDA kind of cruiser that is capable of hosting 1,000 people on board and making them all fat because the food on there is just everywhere and always available for everyone. And that I can't imagine going on a ship trip. I don't know, it's not my kind of stuff. It's just, it feels so boring to be on that huge ship the whole day, and then I don't know, your main goal is to get food. I mean, it's not bad to get food, but it's your main goal to be there, relax, go into the pool, get some food and stuff. I don't know, I just want to, if I'm on holidays or whatever, I want to go out, I want to discover the area around me, and yeah, that ship gives me a bit of a limited area, and maybe that's also me being a creative person and just wanted to go out and stuff like that. I mean, the advantage of these kind of ship tours definitely is that, you are able to visit a lot more different places that you potentially wouldn't be able to do on your own if you're just in one location. But that's fine. You can still organize yourself. Like, for example, when we've been to Thailand a few years ago, we organized the trip ourselves as well, and even we organized the trip only to Thailand and back, and everything in between we kind of made spontaneously, which was money-wise not the best idea ever, but it was cool because you could, it was nice in one area, so we stayed there a little bit longer than we planned, and then in another area it wasn't that nice, and we just stayed there for 2 days and just went to the next one. So that was pretty cool, and I don't need a ship for that. And in fact, this night train drive from Bangkok to Chiang Mai was one of the coolest things ever, even though it was ridiculously cheap. Let me just quickly tell that story. It's so funny. Like, when we've been to Thailand, I've been there with my wife and my best mate and his wife. Back then, both of them weren't our wives, but, it was kind of, in the process of becoming our wives, if that's even a thing. So anyways, so it was really funny because we decided to go to Chiang Mai, which, for those of you who don't know, it's in the northern part of Thailand, and Bangkok is basically in the center of the country, and it's quite a trip to go there. If you look at the map, you would potentially sometimes underestimate how far the distance is between it, because it looks closer than it actually is. But the fun part about this was really that we decided to not take the plane. We wanted to go by train because people told us that the night train is a very, very cheap alternative, and you can ride this train, you can sleep in the train, and get some food. And at the end of the day, we paid I'm not even joking, we paid $3 for a trip, including a full dinner, having something to sleep, like a full bed, And we went for, I think the trip was like, we started at 10 in the evening and we arrived at 10 in the morning. So it was like quite a long trip, $3 freaking. And let me tell you, that was a fun trip. I mean, yes, sleeping wasn't that nice. Mainly, not because the beds were actually pretty comfy, to be honest. There were these kind of, as you expect in a train, you have the seating and then you turn it into a bed. It was quite cool, to be honest. The only problem was the train kind of stopped a lot of times in the night. So there were a lot of stops in between, which, I have the problem. Once we are driving, it's fine. I totally I'm falling asleep immediately. But the moment you're starting to stop decelerating, I'm getting awake again. So that was not that nice. But anyways, also the food we got in there was among the best foods we had. It was so funny. It was so tasty. It was so damn tasty. It was a, Thai curry, but it was so good. And that's so funny. Like sometimes these kind of experiences are something you can't even, it was very cheap, but you can't, kind of calculate any money against it. It's you can't pay for that. It's an experience worth more than money. So it's pretty cool. However, guys, we need to round this up here. I hope you enjoyed this weird commentary, because I didn't want to be very sentimental or whatnot. We talk about enough about Isla Napali in the future, but I wanted to just carry you through me talking about weird things and just have a bit of fun, because that's what Isla Napali was about the whole time. And yeah, so now as I'm finishing off this ship, I want to say thank you to all of you guys from the very beginning, to those who have joined recently, to those who maybe just watched the first time ever Planet Coaster with this video. Many thanks for following me through this crazy project. If you want to see the whole project, click the playlist and watch season 1 and 2. Nearly 100 videos went in there, so quite a lot of stuff to watch for you guys. But now, enjoy your Saturday. Hope to see you guys around next week when the Planet Zoo hype train is leaving again the station. So yeah, prepare for a lot of stuff. I am going full throttle on Tuesday, and yeah, can't wait to give this to you guys. But now, bye bye, have a good time, and see you in the finishing touches of Isla Napali. Bye. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rudi Rennkamel. Also, big thanks to the crew. You can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.